got a suggestion, I'll bring it.
Do you have one?
Yes.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the, welcome to the City of Shamokin Council Workshop, October 6th, 2021 at 6 p.m. We'll be running a few minutes late here, folks. We were getting some paperwork together. We had a hearing prior to the meeting as well as a flag raising, so we were a little delayed in getting started. We'll call the meeting to order now at 6:05. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Any brief moment of silence. Are you ready?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our moment of silence this evening, is for Patrick Lashaw. I had the honor of knowing Patrick and his family from our church. Our thoughts and especially our prayers are with Kathy, Joe, and Stephen as they grieve the loss of their beloved son and brother. Eternal rest grant unto Patrick, O Lord, and let perpetual light shine upon him. May his soul and the souls of all the faithful departed through the mercy of God rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, folks. Roll call, Bob.
Councilwoman Moyer?
Here.
Councilman Moreno?
Here.
Councilman Lawton?
Here.
Councilwoman Seidel?
Here.
And Mayor Brown?
Here, sir.
All present and accounted for?
We have anybody pre-approved this week?
No, sir.
Okay. Any bids for tonight?
No, sir.
Any correspondence?
Yes, sir.
You're getting off that.
Let's hope we're rolling through.
Okay, just an update from Sarah. Just an update from last month's workshop in regards to Brookside Ministries. If you'll recall, they had submitted a letter of request to on September 11th to distribute some supplies and food and clothing, such as winter clothing and so forth. Because of the short notice, I went back and spoke with a representative from the pastor's office, and Christine and I worked out something where they have submitted in writing a new request, and that request is for November 6th. So I'll be putting that on our agenda for the voting meeting on Monday.
Is that released in what?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I would read these, but because I will eventually start coughing because I was sick, I've asked Sarah this afternoon. Her and I went over the event request forms that we have received up to this point, and she's going to do what I normally do, and that is read who is requesting permission from you guys to hold functions here in the city. Okay?
Spotlight's all yours.
You're still okay.
Yeah.
Right? If I tell you to stop, I'll stop. Just listen.
Okay.
But it's not hard to do.
All right, so there is a letter of request from Wassman Brew Company received September 14th, 2001. We would like to ask permission to close off Spruce Street from Market to Cole Streets with signs on 6th Street to notify traffic coming from the west. This event will be to celebrate the fall. This would be on Sunday, October 17th from 12 noon to 9 p.m. We also are asking to suspend the open container laws for alcohol sales from our establishment in this area during the event. Thank you for your consideration. Dennis Kaleda, Lost Mine Brewing Company.
Can you say again when it was received?
September 14th, 2021.
That's nice.
And is that the correct
Yes.
date or?
Is that the correct date?
I happened to be at Lost Mine last Wednesday. All of his advertising is for Saturday the 16th. And I said to him, your request was for the 17th. And he went, I already scheduled everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know I know last meeting we talked about this and said it would be all right, but
There, there.
That's okay, as long as we have the date. So it's Saturday the
Within
16th,
30 days in advance, so.
there's no room, okay.
Okay, so for the record, I'll put that on the agenda, and that being 17th.
No, 16th.
The 16th, Mayor, or is it the 17th?
that's what he told me when I was there.
The 16th.
What I will do for you, is that on one of the official forms or is that still the email?
That's the email.
If you would, at the end of the meeting tonight, please give me one of the official forms. I will have him fill that out and I'll bring it in tomorrow.
For the 16th.
Yeah,
So with the date that he wants and everything else. That way it's on the official form, so the warehouse gets it and has the barricades
Yeah.
there.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of the people that have been with us and doing things with us are used to just sending an email and not used to having the new city event forms filled out. And Dennis is one of them that has done this for many occasions of things. And unfortunately, he's just used to sending us an email and that's good enough. But I will have him fill this out and then you can get it all in your departments.
That's pretty quick service, isn't it? That's probably the fastest thing you've ever got from me.
pushing his luck.
Any questions in regards to that? Any objections to?
Is he asking for a waiver of the outdoor alcohol?
Yes.
Was that on there?
That's not,
I know it's on here, so then that'll make things a little easier for people asking for things too.
Okay, so the next one is from Edward Manning from Oliver Cigar and Spirits. The request is for October 30th, 21, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's going to be called Coffee, Cars, and Cigars. This event will be a car show that will feature coffee, breakfast, lunch items to eat, cigar sales and smoking area, and possibly alcohol beverages. Some proceeds will go to benefit Northumberland County veterans. The car show will be participating in a large and diverse multi-regional area, bringing many people to Shamokin. We will request Independence Street to be closed from the municipal lot down to Orange Street. The festivities of the day, we can coordinate with the efforts of a food truck frenzy and covered bridge to make a day out of it, to draw people from all over to experience Shamokin. Perhaps consider keeping Independence Street closed for the day. Thank you for your consideration, Edward Manning. And then for the questions, they are asking for roads to be closed. They are asking for alcohol at the event and open containers suspended. And the vendors are aware, and they are asking for garbage receptacles. Note, they would like to have a car cruise following the following evening and encourage participants to, following in the evening, I'm sorry. And encourage participants to stay the day and enjoy.
What is the route for the car cruise?
Does not say.
Because you can't exactly close Independence Street down and have it up and down.
yeah, you can.
Each requires the next day.
No, same day.
No,
It's
No,
coming
I'm
after
sorry.
the
you
festivities.
corrected yourself.
Yes, following in the evening.
Following the thing.
So it's a subject that in the past has always been forwarded to the chief of police for his involvement in it before. And I think the mayor has always said that if the chief of police and the street department foreman concur, then permission will be granted. But if in the past, Chief Tobias, if he objected or he had problems, it did not get approved. So if you want to approve it contingent upon the chief of police, you agree
Yeah,
there?
you can put it on the agenda.
One,
He did have in there that he's already talked to Jeannie Schaefer, if I understood you right, because I don't want to step on her. you know?
We can coordinate the efforts.
Okay.
Has not said he reached out.
it's just a reminder, you can't shut the side streets by the post office.
Yes,
You're gonna have to remain open.
because it's a business day for the post office, we can't close the facility.
Also, there's an issue with garbage too again. Can't have that.
What did he request for garbage to be picked up?
Garbage receptacles.
They're gonna be responsible for it. I'm gonna give them the garbage containers.
Is Jeannie doing hers?
I don't.
They always leave it, take care of it, and so, you know.
Okay.
I'm just asking, because
Yeah,
it's gonna be a mess again out down. All right,
So that's part
I'm
of
only reading here quick.
okay,
contingent upon the.
So they're only requesting garbage receptacles according to the form.
yes.
They have to get rid of the garbage, is what you're saying.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
it's gonna pile up. You're gonna have a dump down there in town. I mean,
well, we should make it clear then.
I think we need to make that a stipulation on any event
Yes.
where we're closing
If
streets
it-
down,
if-
that we are
here's the thing I
responsible
say.
for the trash.
If it isn't-
We'll provide receptacles, but
Yes.
you are responsible for the removal
Correct.
of the trash.
Yes. See, I'll explain why.
I don't have a problem with it.
No. Let me explain the problem. When this past event, they had a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. And it was all messed up. Miscommunications galore, everything. Town was like a city dump. It was a city dump, period. There was trash all over the place.
Is this one you and I were down for?
Nope, this was a recent one, okay? Everybody was telling me, well, it was supposed to be here, it was supposed to be there. I contacted Bob. Kevin put exactly where it was supposed to be, the containers.
Right. She had asked me, I
No,
had
I thought-
forwarded that information to Kevin.
Let me finish,
Go ahead.
let me finish.
And Kevin did what he was supposed to.
Yes, he did. If I could just explain it.
Go ahead.
I was getting the calls asking what was going on. Why wasn't this picked up? Where's the receptacles? So I immediately notified him. And I said, Bob, what was on it? And I also called Kevin. And they put them where they were specified. So that's the only reason why I'm bringing this out. So there's no miscommunications. If they want the containers and all, they have to, someone has to be responsible enough to at least get them out of here and get them to Central Spot or something. Can't just let them sit on Independence Street. Just can't do that.
Now, when we
In an
supply,
order,
when we supply the containers, we supply bags or is that on the
No.
event also?
bags.
Okay, I did, to be honest with you, all these years.
And actually, I'll be honest with you, John Saber approached me and they said, well, what if we get a city street department worker to come out? I told them on a Sunday, it's double time. You're not gonna pay 2 guys to come out and pay $400. You're not gonna do that. That's just ridiculous. I'm not against the events. I don't want anybody leaving this room thinking that. It's just, there's gotta be more talk, more coordination. And you, Scott, me, or anybody don't belong downtown cleaning their garbage up. If they wanna have an event, I'm fine with that. They must be responsible. They have committees. Make sure you get the garbage tied and get to an area, clean it up. That's all I'm asking. You know, but I just wanted to clarify that. It was not the street department's fault. It was just a little bit of miscommunication.
Is
That's
it
all.
on the form? It's not on the form here. Is
Is
it?
it,
Yes.
are
Are
you
you
requesting
requesting
garbage?
garbage
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as, who's responsible for cleanup.
I don't see that.
Maybe we should-
I even
maybe we
suggested-
should do that.
That's what Bob just said, to add it to the form.
Yeah. I even suggested,
One,
John, to go this far. If they're gonna have a huge event like this, in all seriousness, it would be to their advantage to talk to one of the trash haulers
I was thinking,
and get them, get one of them, 'cause
get a price.
most of them work with us. Just about all the trash haulers in the city of Shamokin are very good to us.
If I'm not mistaken, if I could just
Go
put
ahead.
my 2 cents in there, the trash hauler named Miranda,
Mhm.
trash, okay?
Yeah, he's been very
They
good.
were involved in an
Yes.
event
Back on the 4th of July.
by what used to be.
That's the one day the mayor put the
And
garbage in
that
the wrong
neighborhood down
container.
there.
Yeah.
They put on Joe Galina's lawn.
Yeah,
So you got a point there, and that's a good point.
and it wasn't their fault. Me and the mayor, what we were doing, we put it in the wrong container. Easy mistake, how about it? We thought we did good.
That would be the best thing for them to do is
Well,
have.
It was just a suggestion. I mean, it's up to them, but if you're gonna have, like on the 30th, you're talking a huge event. You're talking food truck frenzy, plus, if I heard it right,
Yeah.
all of Independence Street, plus the covered bridge.
Yes. Yeah, because he has the 30th that night.
Right. And I will say this too, I'm not offending anybody, but the covered bridge does a hell of a job. There is never any problems there. I checked with the police, no police involvement, and the street is spotless and bare. And they take everything, we give them the barrels, they take everything out, and it goes to their dumpster. So I mean, I'm just bringing this, we want Shamokin to be presentable, and that's the only reason I bring that up. But it's nobody's fault. It's just something that we gotta try and rectify.
We have a number of others.
Yeah.
Any other questions in
No.
regards to this particular application? No?
No.
Then please move on to the next.
The next request is from Sabre, Home for the Holidays, for November 27th, Small Business Saturday. It's from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Sabre is requesting to host Home for the Holidays on November 27th. We would like to close Independence Street from 8th Street to Washington Street, including the side streets from Water to Commerce. We will work with the Chief of Police and Street Department. We would like to close Independence Street from Market to 8th to lead Santa from Fulton Bank to Bamsey after dance performances. So yes, we'd like to close the street starting at 11. Yes, alcohol will be sold. Yes for open container. Yes for vendors. Yes for garbage. And we're asking for 2 per block, and please put them in the grass area behind chillers.
That's what I need to specify. That's good.
That will go on.
Because there's so many, instead of us trying to write them all down, can you make us a cheat sheet tomorrow of?
Yes. Yeah, because we'll never remember these things.
And then you'll be able to just transfer that right to the.
But it's in there,
for the
they
regular.
specify where they want it. That's what, that saves a lot of trouble.
Okay. The next one's also from Sabre for Light of Lincoln for the same evening, which would be 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. This would be the same thing that they did last year. Sabre would like to host Light of Lincoln again this year. We will get volunteers to decorate the monuments on Lincoln Street. The evening of November 27th, following Home for the Holidays event, we would like to travel on foot up Lincoln Street and stop at each monument. We will work with the Chief of Police and Street Department, and the rain date would be 11/28/21. Yes, we're asking for the roads, no alcohol, no vendors, and no trash receptacles.
Any questions in regards to that one? If not, we'll put that on the agenda.
I'm sorry, I did not say when those were received.
And they gave a rate date for that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Home for the Holidays was received September 22nd.
Okay.
And Light of Lincoln was received September 28th. Okay, received September 21st, for request from Jeannie Schaefer for the downtown Christmas market for 12/4/21 from 11 a.m. set up starting at 9, ending at 4 at Claude Kaler. Parade to start at Lincoln Towers at 11 a.m. Travel northbound Market, turn onto Arch, and deliver Santa at the park. Vendors, entertainment, free food with an open market to shop. We will need access to the sheds and stage at 5 p.m. The annual Christmas tree lighting will take place on Market Street. Yes for streets, no for alcohol, no for open container, yes for vendors, and yes for trash receptacles.
Any questions, objections? If not, we'll go on Monday.
Okay, we're gonna need a list.
Might want to mark up your calendar at home. Go ahead.
So this one's was submitted October 5th. Sabre would like to host Schmokin' Warms My Heart for April 9th, 22, starting at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this would be on Arch Street between Market and 6th. Same thing they did last year. The second annual Schmokin' Warms My Heart on Arch Street between Market and 6th Streets. We will host the local businesses. Yes, closing roads starting at 9. Yes for alcohol. Yes for open container. Yes for vendors, and yes for trash receptacles.
Any objections, questions? Next.
We're in the 2022.
Yes, there are a lot for 2022. We have the Heritage 5K requesting by Sabre for 5/28/22, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sabre would like to host the annual 5K the morning of the Heritage Arts Festival. Route same as past years. We will work with Chief of Police and Street Department. No to streets, no to alcohol, no to open container, no to vendors, and no to trash receptacles.
I just wanted, before we,
Close the streets.
They have the police.
It's kind of a
Chief of
rolling
Police.
closure,
Okay.
you call it, I guess. Well, you ran it.
Yeah, I did. That's why I was concerned we weren't gonna close the roads.
somebody may wonder, why are we going into May and so forth? And this afternoon, in reviewing these, I had this conversation with Sarah, and she brought up a good point. These organizations that are having this have got to reach out for vendors and secure and reserve a slot. So this is,
I know from talking to the Covered Bridge after the last one,
Yeah.
he's a year out scheduling bands. That's why he's trying to secure dates for
Yeah.
his
so that's why we're just not gonna let them sit until.
So are they closing streets or are they having traffic control?
For the 5K
That's
run,
traffic control.
they've always just done traffic. Well, I think they did it twice now, right?
That's what I thought.
Corn.
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't actually.
I think the
close them.
AAOA leads it with a side by side, and then the police kind of follow along with everything else. Believe it or not, there's a runner that passes the side by side out during these events. The kid's that quick.
So.
Yeah.
The next one was received October 5th, also by Sabre for Independence and Independence. They're requesting the same day as fireworks, seemingly July 2nd. 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Independence Street. Sabre would like to host the second annual Independence on Independence. We would like to shut down Independence Street from 8th Street to Washington, including side streets from Water to Commerce Street. We'll work with Chief of Police and Street Department. This event would be the same day as the fireworks. Yes, they're closing streets starting at 11. Yes, alcohol will be sold. Yes, asking for open container. And yes for the vendors, and yes for garbage receptacles. Again, 2 per block, half behind chillers and half behind Housing Authority parking lot.
Any questions?
Yeah, see, I'm assuming somebody checked with Angie and CBC to see when they're doing the fireworks before. Or does it just say what, they gave a date?
Yes,
July.
so I put July 2nd, same as fireworks.
Okay.
Seemingly they do it on the 2nd.
If they would change it, that date would change also.
And also like last year, it was during the day already when they postponed the fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one was also received October 5th for the Waffle Festival, 9/10/22, rain date, 9/10/22, and then rain date is 9/11/22. Start time is 1 p.m. and time is 8 p.m. at the Independence Street. We would like to close Independence Street from 8th to Washington, including side streets from Water to Commerce Streets to host second annual Waffle Festival. Will be similar to 2021. We will work with Chief of Police and Street Department. Yes to closing streets starting at 11. Alcohol will be sold. Open container is asked for. There will be vendors, and we are requesting trash receptacles, 2 per block, half behind chillers and half behind, or between Beverly's and the building next door.
Any questions? Moving on.
The next request is coming from the Oasis for their 3rd annual Recovery Awareness Walk and Street Fair. It'd be September 18th, it's a Sunday, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. And they're asking for the 200 and 300 block of Independence Street for the street fair. And the walk will take the path of previous years, Independence Street, starting at the library onto Market to Lincoln Towers, Market Street to Lincoln Street, and back to Independence Street. Yes, they're asking for roads to be closed, no alcohol, no open container. Yes to vendors, and yes to trash receptacles. And that was received September 22nd, 21.
Any objections, questions? Moving on.
The next one is the Halloween parade. Sabre is requesting for 10/25/22, rain date 10/26/22, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Halloween parade will follow the same route as previous years, starting at Claude Taylor Park. We will work with Chief of Police, Street Department, and Fire Police. They are asking for the streets to be closed. Our streets at Claude Taylor starting at 4. No alcohol, no open container. And we are asking for extra trash receptacles throughout the route.
Any questions? Go ahead.
October 6th, Sabre requested for Light of Lincoln 11/22, 11/26/22, rain date 11/27/22 from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. We would like to host the 3rd annual Light Up Lincoln. We would like to close Lincoln Street from Market to North Rock for full event. Also have fire, police, or police escort viewers from Legacy Park into Monument Row after opening remarks. Yes, asking for streets to be closed, no alcohol, no open container. There will not be vendors, and asking for 2 garbage receptacles along the way.
Any questions? Proceed.
And then they are, Sabre's also requesting Home for the Holidays in 22, which would be 11/26/22 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They would like to close Independence Street from 8th Street to Washington Street for the whole event, including side streets from Commerce to Water Street. We would like to close Independence Street from Market to 8th after dance performance to lead Santa to Dempsey. This event will require streets to be closed starting at 9 a.m. Alcohol will be sold, asking for open container. Yes to vendors, and yes to trash receptacles, 2 per block, half behind chillers and half in the Housing Authority lot. And that was received
Any
October 6th.
questions in regards to the last one? Any questions in regards to any of this? If not, we'll proceed in putting it on the agenda come Monday. Mayor, you back to you.
Oh, I have correspondence. I just have one. I should have just tossed it in file. A&B Children's Theater is requesting to use Claude Taylor Park. This was submitted on September 9th. Claude Taylor Park on Wednesday, October 27th. However, they have a rain date. If the parade gets rained out on the 26th and is moved to the 27th, then the Children's Theater will move their performance on the 27th to the following Wednesday on the 3rd. So, yes. So, they would just like to use it. It's a parents-only event. It's not really open to the public. All they need are the bathrooms open, no concession stands, but they did submit the event form, so I will get that. Thank you.
To help Linda Sterling out, she has a long drive home and it's getting darker quicker now. If you guys don't mind, I'll skip right to her.
She's about to infuse
Will I?
you. You had me confused the other day.
Well, that's because I didn't know what day it was.
If I would have known there was that many correspondence, I'd have had you before correspondence.
It's
I
all right, it was
apologize.
entertaining. Can everybody hear me okay with my mask on?
That's okay with this.
No, I'm
You're
taking
fine.
it off because it's fine with my glasses. I have a couple of things for you this evening. I took notes so I wouldn't confuse you. On Monday's agenda, you'll have from, for your CDBG application, a 504 resolution, a fair housing resolution, and the resolution to apply. We talked about this at the last meeting. The resolution to apply authorizes the CDBG application, gives the mayor the authority to sign all the related documents. I have a copy of these as well as the motions that will be the wording for the motions that will be needed for that meeting. I am not planning to attend, but Aaron will be here, and I don't expect that there's going to be any confusion. This is repeat business. But you can call me. Also, Aaron passed out the 3-year plan. You remember last year, you looked over that? Anyone who wants to read it is welcome to. If you don't want to read it, you can leave it on the table, hand it to me, I'll take it back and recycle it. It is the same as last year, with the exception of being updated for new events and things of importance that happened this year. And it does not need to be updated because we don't have new demographic data. Whenever we get new demographic data, we update it. And the biggest thing I want to talk to you about tonight is the demolition of 118, 122 Independence Street. There's been a lot of questions about this, understandably so. This process has been confusing. It was the first time through with a new organization, the State Historic Preservation. And in November of 2020, there was a request for an ER process submitted to CEDACOG ER staff for 122 East Independence Street for demolition. However, we retracted that request in January because I learned that there was going to be a new process for environmental reviews, and I was afraid this project would get held up because of it. And the city chose instead to use their Keystone funding for this demolition. Turns out that because we were going to be using CDBG money and building Independence, the new illumination station park, that the ER had to include 122 anyway. This triggered what's called an adverse response. It's under 24 CFR Part 58. There's laws recording.
Is that on all the copies or is it just mine that's
No.
not readable?
Oh, that's not readable? Oh. Oh.
Is yours the same way? It looks like there's a photocopy.
Yeah, I think.
Some of the back page.
We can get that to you.
No, we want you to have clear copies of
If
that.
you just send it to us electronically.
I think you
I
actually.
think that last part is just the building code that.
Yeah, it starts there.
That should be sent over for the end.
Yeah, that's actually from the historic, the Federal Register for Historic Places. It's very specific.
But if you want to send it to us electronically, I appreciate Didn't she give you?
Oh, I have, I just want to see if this is the one that you just signed the other day.
It's the same thing, but I don't
My
know.
signature's on the last one.
You could say that.
So the adverse effect that was triggered was the Historic Preservation Act.
Is that the wrong one?
That's the three one.
I got it. You signed it, I have.
And the adverse effect was the fact that during the demolition of the 122 and 118, other historic properties could be harmed. And they also wanted to make sure that historic places were documented thoroughly. So this is federal legislation. It's only triggered in a historic district. We do have a historic district that is been approved, but it's never been officially enacted, but it is still under the purview of the National Historic Preservation Act. So I'm just giving you clearly and concisely the background for why you just went through what we went through, because there were a lot of questions about it. One of the things required was a memorandum of agreement by all parties. And we did have a conference call with Mr. Slavy, Mrs. Seidel. Why did I put this back on? It's the State Preservation Office, several people from CEDACOG, and Sean Garrigan from SGA. That memorandum has been signed and executed by the city. That was a requirement of the adverse effect. I gave a copy, even though it's not a very legible copy. The part that is not legible is the requirements for the engineer. I actually noticed that. We may even need to get them to give us something better because they're expected to follow that. So, quick rundown of the MOA. The city of Shamokin will ensure that the following things are carried out. Photographic documentation. We have, there's more detail here. I can take questions or read more, but I'm thinking tonight more is less. CEDACOG will be making sure that the photo documentation that's required is submitted. Safe demolition practices. The responsibilities here under the memorandum of understanding that are given to the city of Shamokin will be carried out by the engineer. I have already talked to them about that. They're going to be including all of the requirements for safe demolition in the actual bid documents. So it becomes part of what needs to happen. Property redevelopment, you need to submit a plan. That, luckily, because you have Sean Garrigan, you're going to have a lovely plan about how that property is going to be redeveloped. They asked to see it first. He will be taking care of that. As well, historic signage will find its way into that plan so that the buildings that have been removed and the rest of the historic district can be interpreted and promoted through this event. So this agreement is fully executed. It's been sent to everybody that needs to have it. Just had the mayor sign the notice to release funds. The ER is expected end of November, October, early November, and preliminary design can begin anytime. So the engineer knows that now they can start putting everything together. As soon as the ER clears, the notice to bid will go into the paper. And one last thing that I was informed that overall, it takes 6 to 8 months for any time. This was not an aberration of any kind. If you want to tear down a building in the historic district again, this review process is long and you are expected to follow it. The difficult thing is that you have very dangerous properties in your historic district. There is, Terry Provost is looking into possible things that, mitigation things. She said that you can use CDBG money and get an emergency ER to brace if you're afraid that buildings are going to be falling down in the meantime, so that's not on the city's dime. This is something that I'll be looking into more. Next time we're gonna take a building down, we'll plan for it. There is no way around it if you're using CDBG money.
Can I add? This is new. That's why,
Well, it's the legend, I want to be careful how I say this as the press is talking away. I just want to make sure that I'm accurate. The legislation was from 1966. The way it's being enforced through the State Historic Preservation Office is a new process. So that the State Historic Preservation Office is newly reviewing all requests for environmental reviews for CDBG funding in a historic district. That's the new part.
However, this has no bearing on what we already have started, correct?
Correct. Yes,
It's
correct.
just gonna take a little more time. is what you're saying.
Well,
I
this,
mean, in the
we've
future,
been through the worst of it. You've been
Been
through
through
the
the
worst of it, and the next time we want to take down a building in the historic
We
district,
learned the lesson.
we have to plan for it, and I will be talking ahead and saying, look, here's the deal, is there anything we can do? This was the learning curve, and I apologize for the time I've talked here, but I thought it was important that when we could all sift through this, and I didn't completely understand it the whole way through, it was a learning curve for me as well. But I feel like now, next time through, yeah, we'll be able to work with it. And as ridiculous as this sounds, I have a recommendation to make for your consideration that you now do not use Keystone funding to tear down 122, and that we do both with CDBG funding. Because the only reason we were using Keystone funding was to expedite the environmental review process. We were not able to do that because of the, triggering section 106. Now there's really no benefit, it's just gonna be a greater engineering cost to the city to have to break out all the invoices and track the two buildings as two different demolitions. However, that's your decision.
Do you trigger a 106 on 122 now?
It's already triggered on both.
So they've already done the historic nonsense for the other one.
It's put through for 118 and 122 both together.
But
It started out as 122, but
what's gonna happen, Linda and I talked the other day, what'll happen is it's gonna cost us more money through the engineer to tear the two properties down
as separate properties.
as separate properties because they're gonna have to itemize each one because of the safe work practices and all the other stuff involved. I'm good with us doing that, so long as I've got to talk to Ed Christiana first to see if they will allow us to move that money to another property, which I'd like to use that Keystone money to tear down the one on Shamokin Street. So,
Good idea.
Does any of this,
so we're still getting the same amount of money in the end. We're not giving up money.
And
They're
even
just adjusting.
Even if you can't, even if he says, oh, no, not Shamokin Street, I can't imagine he would, but if he would.
Yeah.
There would be the next one you wanna do. I don't
Right.
see them taking this funding away from you. I just, I think they'll be willing to do what's ever in the best interest of the city. But they need to make that call, maybe have a deadline or something. I don't know.
does any of this affect park timeline, or you're okay?
no, timeline's still perfectly fine.
So you're just making an adjustment is basically what you're gonna do.
That has to be an agenda item. So Scott, you'll have the information you need for Monday.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
what-
try and get it in the next few minutes.
What's, you want council to vote on,
I think we're gonna have to if we're changing funding sources, aren't we?
You should, so
Yeah,
that
we've
you'll.
already,
you don't miss the weight.
we've already voted to use
Yeah. So we're gonna have to do that.
CDBG up on Shamokin Street and for one property. You don't have any CDBG allocated for the other property on Independence Street.
Who's doing Monday night's agenda? I see there's three of you back there.
It's a joint effort.
Okay. Can you, Scott, can you, she back there, okay. Can you please, sometime between now and Monday, have exactly what you need to have on the agenda
Between now and
Sunday? Yeah, that has to be by, yeah,
Yeah,
because we
actually,
have to
like
post the
you,
agenda
I
24
can
hours.
aim
Tomorrow.
tonight if I can.
that would be perfect.
Just keep that in mind.
Basically, all I need is to contact Ed and him say, yes, we can pull that money away and put it over there, or no, we can't.
Just on the way.
If he says, no, we can't, well, now we're gonna just spend more of our money. If he says, yes, we can, then
We're okay.
we're in the clear.
So what you're saying, just so I'm clear, if he says, no, we can't, you are not gonna continue to tear down, no, you're not gonna continue to tear down 122
No.
with bank funds, with Keystone Fund.
That's what it
Right.
sounds like what he said.
Yeah,
I mean, I think,
Because
yeah,
we will use that for the Schmoken Street.
Right.
And just move.
Yeah.
Basically what we were kind of figuring for Schmoken Street, we'll move to 122.
Right.
So.
please, just take this.
Somebody going to translate that into agenda language?
You'll,
Just asking.
you have to have Leah talk to you, and you'll have to have that to her as quick as possible.
I can, if you let me know what Ed says, I can get the motion written. I mean, I'm sure you can do it, Scott, but you're,
If he answers me here.
well, you can text me and let me know, and I'll be happy to write the motion language and get it to Jenna, if that's good. That's all I have.
I'll give you a slot.
Well, I was just gonna say, what I'm gonna say.
You wanna get out of here too?
Exactly what she said.
You wanna get out of here?
I do.
Did you have to repeat it?
Are you kidding?
Our zoning officer is here tonight. I actually put him on the
Oh.
list after EMA and everybody else.
All I have is one, it's a request that everybody here think about. And since our attorney's in the room, he may want to speak to this, but right now, the city doesn't have, to the best of my knowledge, a demolition permit. We may even think we know what we're doing, but you just talked about demolition for quite a while. That's why I wanted to get into this now. We don't have anything official here. And let me give you the two examples that scare me. One is if you order the demolition of, like Shamokin Street, you're talking about, you'll use the housing authority. The housing authority hires an engineer. The engineer writes a gigantic document that requires things like insurance, who's insured, what are the amounts, all of that takes place. Who's responsible for what? If there's damage to utilities, if there's damage to adjacent buildings, and on, and sidewalks, this goes on. Time limits. How long does a guy have to tear a building down? Only so long. He's gonna close streets. How long should he have the streets closed? All of that is handled when we do a job by the housing authority that hires an engineer that does the job. And then the city of Shamokin issues a demolition permit to Joe Blow and says you can tear something down.
Yeah, I will get.
There's no insurance. There's no requirement for insurance. There's no time limits. You've given a guy
Free
just
rein. Free rein.
carte blanche, and that's scary. And what we need to do, I think, is establish a set of minimum requirements. There needs to be maybe a de minimis tear down, a garage or something like that. But if it's a house or a structure of substance, there should be a permit process. And that should include things like you need to give the city a certificate of insurance to cover this, and this for the time of the demolition.
Similar to the event form that we were talking about, what we do on the streets and so forth. That is to protect the city of Shamokin. What you're talking about is
Protect the city of Shamokin.
And this is something that the code office is beginning to develop out there in other areas. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Just make sure you don't develop anything that the third party inspector who handles demolitions doesn't want you to do.
That's
Well,
correct.
What he does is he takes care of the actual demolition part. What I'm talking about is more of what you were talking about, and that is the insurance. That isn't his business. Workers' comp, Is there any workers' comp involved? People hire kids to tear something down. What happens when a kid gets hurt?
He's talking about demolitions.
Again, right.
That I
Use
can
the
honestly
street.
tell you, okay,
You're
that
talking
the
about
city's
safe
insurance
demo
policy
practices.
covers that
That's
when it
exactly
involves-
what I'm talking
when it involves
Get a private demo.
Again, I hear what you're saying, but like, for example, kids, okay, if we had a group of kids out here cutting grass and somebody got cut or whatever, the city does have insurance. I checked on that a long time ago because someone had said, Bob.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Not for a
Somebody else has
private
hired
demolition.
kids.
If a private contractor is hiring kids and they get hurt, that's on the private contractor.
Sure.
I mean,
But again, I agree with you wholeheartedly, and everybody in this room should, on the forum, establishing and
You need to
developing a
have
forum.
A set of rules.
Just like, but just don't establish anything that
Without-
conflicts with anything.
Well, it could help the
Yes.
with drafting this. I think that would make sense.
And I can tell you exactly.
And it help, I'll help.
I've been on a demolition lately where he comes and inspects it regularly now.
Oh, good.
That's good. So that was my point. I think we need to establish a demolition permit that the city issues that takes care of all
I
of
will
these.
have someone make some phone calls and see what other municipalities of this.
I don't believe we can issue a demo permit because we don't have a BOC here. That's why we have a third-party inspector.
We'll still reach out.
That's,
Well, the third-party inspector can issue it on your behalf, right?
Right, which,
Yeah, but you can
But
say.
hopefully-
that's what he does now.
give me an example.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the third-party inspector can require insurance, but the city can.
No, you just don't get the
Those are the
job.
kinds of things.
I see
that
what
the
you're saying.
City,
Yeah, no, I got you.
Like we have this.
So if that contractor
Source-
is tearing down next to your house and he creates damage to your house,
exactly.
So the form covers us, basically, is what you're saying. That form
When
would cover.
you do the job, when the city actually tears something down, you use, I mean, you go to the extent, if you saw the actual documents, they're that thick about, here's the legal things that have to do with tearing this property down. But if you let Joe Blow tear down a property, you just wiped all that out. You have no insurance, you didn't tell somebody, hey, make sure your workers' comp is okay, make sure, you know.
Something gets damaged or somebody gets hurt, they certainly have every right to include the city on those
And it will
fancy
include
papers
the
that the
city.
sheriff delivers to you.
So I think it would be helpful, just throwing it out there, guys. I think we should talk about that.
real quick, Mayor, to go back to what we were discussing a minute ago with Linda. I just spoke with Ed Christian. He is absolutely in agreement with us having Hank pay for the demo up on Schmoken Street and us using CDBG money for 122.
Okay.
So we're just.
So I just need to
Question,
give you a
Linda.
motion.
The two on Schmoken Street there, do they have an ER done already, correct?
It's not done, it's
But I
requested.
mean, it's in the process,
It's in the
right?
process.
So all we gotta do is
That's what I
make
thought.
a motion, right, to adjust that.
I think we should
And
take it out of the
there will
process
be
though. You will read it. if you
More
so-
money to come from Birchwood.
Oh, really?
Piece.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
Well, it's not
probably,
extra stuff.
here. Okay, that's good. So,
So we can just do that
I
one.
do a motion for you, get it to Jen and,
Yeah, because you know what's going on, what we're changing.
and you're comfortable with doing that? Okay, great.
Yeah, we should be able to Monday out, so why not?
Yeah, I just think it would be easier and better for everyone. Okay, that's good. Thanks for having the hotline.
Thanks.
Sure. With any questions for me, I'm gonna scoot out if you don't mind.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh,
boy.
well, you know what, that's not.
Okay, anybody have new business?
Yeah.
Nothing new going on. Any old business sitting out there? No, I'm going back to where we were.
Oh,
I skipped ahead so she can.
Oh.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks.
Sorry.
Sorry, Thank you, Mr.
I just know it.
Okay, okay. No new, no old. I'm sure we'll pick up on some things as we go through our individual slides. All right, top of the list for our folks is B. Kramer. You have anything, Kid?
I have a lot. Hold on.
You wanna sit over here, or you wanna try and?
Yeah.
Make it easier for you, Sarah.
Thanks. Hold on, I need my notes and my glasses. First up is, the Rail to Trail public meetings have been set. The one for Shamokin is Tuesday, October 26th, 5 till 6:30. It's gonna be at the Northumberland County, Career Center. The actual,
Don't write it down.
yeah, I know. It's gonna be conflicting with the parade.
Yep.
Can't help that. The presentation's at 5:30. Now, there's also one on Wednesday, October 27th. That's in Sunbury at the Northumberland County Administration Building. That's also 5 to 6:30. So they are open to the public. Also, that one has a presentation at 5:30. So the 5 to 6:30 is the open house. They're gonna have pictures and plans laid out for you to check out. Once again, that is from, is a 26-mile rail trail. AOAA has funded their feasibility study that them and Northumberland County. The proposed rail trail goes from outside of Sunbury through the city of Shamokin to Mount Carmel Township. Next up is the Brownfield grant. That's the $300,000 grant that actually started on October 1st. And I have the RFQ, which is a request for quotes for a qualified environmental professional QEP. So that will be sent to the city for you to check it out. I know there's so many applicants. I can't help it. If anybody's interested, I'm going to a Brownfield conference. You're all invited. Next up is your comprehensive plan and zoning book rewrite. This is the comp plan the zone book that you have is most current is 1964. So we were able to get funding, $50,000 through EDCDI, which is through DCED. That's an economic development, community development initiative. I spoke to my contact at DCED today. We were just waiting for a signature and then we'll be able to rock and roll with that. So we were able to get $50,000 from that fund. We were also able to access some old CDBG admin funds of $13,000, which actually we have to use up or we would lose. So this is a very good reason to use these funds. So what we plan to do is send out an RFQ or P, I'm not sure which one. Q means quotation, P means request for proposals. Thank you, Erin. And so we're going to be sending that out to get an engineer involved to help come up with a comp plan. That's going to be coming in 3 phases. First of all would be a Band-Aid to your current zoning book because you have some issues in there that could cause a city trouble if you were ever, secondly would be to create your comprehensive plan. And third is to rewrite your zoning book. I have no idea how much this is all going to cost. So since I know with the $63,000 that we have through the EDCI, DCED money, and CDBG admin money, I know we have enough to at least fix the Band-Aid. We can find out how much we need, then we can access funds to pay for everything. The timeline of this. So your H&H plan will be starting next week. We have a kickoff meeting. So then that is supposed to be finished February of 2022. Then the comp plan will start. That's a year-long process. And then your zoning book rewrite is a year-long process. So this is a big deal that we'll be talking about for many months to come.
Got a lot of work to do.
Oh, yeah. No, it's gonna be, but we're hiring somebody to take the bulk of it, so we just have to come up with money for that. Here's another opportunity that the city has. If you recall, we had the environmental resiliency plan that the city approved, I believe it was last month. In talking with Shauna Barnhart from Bucknell University, we have the opportunity that we could put in for a grant for a full-time person to assist the city with that plan for 1 year. Won't cost the city a dime. Actually, there is a fee, it's like $4,800, but Bucknell would actually pick that up. It would come out of the Shauna's department. Yes, so she would pay for that. She would put it part of her budget. What would be required is I would have to apply for this grant. I believe it would be next month. I'll find out from Shauna exactly when it has to be in. And then we would find out if we were approved or denied beginning of next year. So this person would take effect, I think, around February. She requested that if we are approved, she asked if the person that's hired full-time could come into work here 2 days a week. And the other 3 days a week would work out of the office at Bucknell.
Absolutely.
So my first question is it okay if I apply for the grant?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it have to go up for the agenda on Monday? I wasn't sure.
No, I think as a government entity, you can apply, I can go ask for money any place.
Right.
It's gonna benefit the city.
At a meeting, haven't we already given her carte blanche to apply for any grants she
Yeah.
finds necessary? Well,
The paperwork that will come in is gonna require a government signature on there. but
Absolutely.
You can
Just go for it.
You go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did that very early when you came here, just in case we got.
Yeah, because that
Stuff
happens.
between
Sometimes you
meetings,
find
That's
things.
okay. The
Put
city
in
can.
for it.
So that person would be, if we won, that person would start next February for the year. There's a possibility we could get an extension for a couple of years too, so. Yes, so, and as I said, there's no charge to the city. Any charges will be picked up by Bucknell.
Go for it.
All right, so I'll apply for that on behalf of the city.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. And as I said, she or he would be working at a city hall for 2 days a week.
Okay, I'll
I
find your space.
specified to Sean, I'm not sure if you'd want that person on a Wednesday since the mayor has hours then, but I don't know if it matters, quite frankly, so. Next up, I've got a lot to share about the Home HUD program. So as you know, we have been approved in the city for $500,000 a year to bring homes up to code. This is what's happening so far. We've begun to work through intake forms. And what intake forms are is they actually go through the list and they reach out to the applicant and they have to make sure that they are financially where their paperwork's at. So they have to ask for a lot of papers and forms and check. They are working on 4 so far. Once that is finished, then the second step is they'll set up inspections, radon, lead codes. They also get third-party inspectors in, electrical, HVAC. Once again, all these things I'm saying, the city doesn't have to do anything. So I'm just giving you the update of what's happening on your behalf. So 4 have already started. After all the inspections are done, then they bid out the activity and do the walk through the home, bid opening, all that CEDACOG will be doing on your behalf. Usually takes about 3 months for all this behind the scenes stuff to take place. So I wanted to give you an update that it is happening. So you just probably don't see it, but it's happening. Any questions on that? Okay, and once again, these homeowners aren't paying for anything, so that's a huge plus. Illumination station, Linda shared about that. Just so you know, there is a steering committee that's been formed. Sean Harrigan's been reaching out to them, so that's happening. The timeline has not changed at all, even though it feels like it's been stuck, but timeline hasn't changed. I share about H&H plan. And lastly, ARPA. So on Monday's meeting, we're going to be meeting at 6 o'clock. CEDACOG staff are coming down to just share what they have found as guidelines for ARPA. ARPA actually comes out of U.S. Treasury. And even to this date, they have made some changes. But so the CEDACOG staff will be sharing with the city what they have found. Any questions? I think that's all I have.
Keep getting some.
This visit here by Cedar County
Yes.
officials, that's this coming Monday, the 11th, at 6 p.m.
Mhm.
Not 7, 6 p.m.
Correct, 6 p.m.
They're gonna meet with us
Yes.
Down there,
down there.
just prior to our meeting now.
And our meeting is down.
Yes.
They cannot allow it.
Okay.
But, Larry, I'm glad you're actually sitting in that spot. Is that door unlocked? I'm getting messages from people that they can't get into the public meeting because we have the doors locked.
Seems to be open.
Doors unlocked. Okay.
So,
Take blind though. I did.
Maybe they're trying
It's
to
unlocked.
that door.
If they're going to the front door. Yep.
What is it?
Yes.
After B. Kramer, controller.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just briefly, all the payrolls have been downloaded for September and reconciled. I spoke to Brenda earlier today and she indicated that her reports will be ready for Monday night's meeting. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
Real quick, for the month of September, juvenile petitions were 2, criminal arrests 21, traffic citations 21, non-traffic citations 18, parking citations 73, written warnings 7, parking tickets 67, sweeper tickets 227. We had 875 dispatch calls in September. We logged 3,869 miles, and we have addressed 40 abandoned vehicles in the city in the month of September.
Is that all, boss?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
thank you.
Anybody have anything for the chief? You need anything? No. Treasurer's not here.
She's now.
Just left a message that she'll have everything ready to go.
She said she-
Mr. Solicitor, sir?
Nothing, sir.
City admin?
Nothing, sir.
EMA from Jeff. Anybody got anything from Jeff for EMA?
Jeff was here, week before last and told me that everything is going fine. He certainly appreciates all the support, that he has gotten. Everything is fine from his standpoint.
I'm not forgetting any before we go to the elected folks, right? Mrs. Moore?
Just that the budget's being worked on, department by department. Should be, I don't know, Bob, when available
There's
for,
going to be a
elected
copy available, I believe. We had a meeting this morning. After you had left, we're gonna have a printout for everyone
right,
before I have the elected officials in here, which will be Sunday next week. You'll be receiving in your box a copy of the 2022 budget, and you'll have an opportunity to meet with me, Doreen, David, Mrs. Meyer,
And
they, all of them, so that you can see the budget.
But can we also get a copy of this past year's showing what it was and what was spent?
Like year to date,
Yeah, yeah,
year to date for 2021.
yeah, because my one concern is maintenance and of the
Fire trucks.
fire department.
It's in here. It's right at some of your trucks.
Is that something that, I'm sorry, Scott, is that something to run, I can, run something out of QuickBooks on my team and would be able to do that.
right now.
Put out a QuickBooks for Councilman Roten on,
Provide it again, like
year
the
to
budget
date.
I asked you about the other day, from January to
September.
September.
Okay.
I'll send you a text or whatever where it's at.
Okay.
Anything further?
No.
Thank you very much. Jennifer?
One thing leads into another. There have been several complaints about Claude Kaler Park, the litter. It's just crazy. Bob called, I got calls from the neighbors, so we went over, and I don't know why, but it just dawned on me that we don't have any garbage cans over there when there's not an event. So people, the point of the park is to use it. to sit in it. I'd like to get garbage cans moved over into there. And I understand the problems that causes because then it fills up. But we do have cameras over there, so as far as dumping, we would have a better chance at catching somebody doing that in Claude Kaler than we do, say, on Independence Street. And then that leads into my second issue, as we're talking about these budget issues and budget meetings coming up. The Act 47 conference call yesterday afternoon. I spoke to Bob briefly before that and then kind of jumped on everybody in the meeting. I am requesting a full-time recreation and parks employee. They would fall under the same contract that the street department falls under. They would be hired under the street department. Kevin would be their supervisor, but their job would be every day to go to the parks, to go to the playgrounds, to patrol Independence Street for specific trash. Our street department does a phenomenal job, but it's a rotating schedule. This position would just address the recreation spaces that we have. We are spending so much money inviting the public into this town, having these events, putting in brand new parks. We need a dedicated position to just patrol the trash. That means everything over there. That means shoveling those areas. And then in the winter, because DCD and Lean Stevens, they all brought up valid points. This position would be paid out of the recreation fund. So I wanted to get this out to the rest of council. There had been some talk about the millages being changed for next year and reducing the recreation millage. Now there is enough money in there, I think, to sustain this position for a while. And I understand the concerns about using recreation money to pay for a street department worker, but I have to state, I verified it yesterday. Bob was on that call, and so was Betsy. If tomorrow they would say, take your recreation money and give it to the police, I would be in here saying, do that. But that money cannot be used to support the police department. Otherwise, it would have been done already. Between DCD, Act 47, and this board, that would have been done. Those recreation funds cannot be used to do that. Nor can they be used to reduce Shamokin's debt, because we asked again yesterday and confirmed that. So I think a good use of this would be to get another street department person and to have them patrolling these parks, patrolling our main streets. I mean, look at Market Street. The other one, I'm sorry, but the other one, dog dirt, dog droppings, it's got to be taken care of. Yes, people should be responsible for their own pets. We all know they're not. You can't have dog dirt in a playground, and you can't expect the street department to say, we don't need to fix your streets. We don't need to clean gutters. We don't need to address buildings. We're just going to be on dog crap patrol. So just so everyone knows, that was brought up yesterday, and that will be coming up in my budget talk, that I am asking for that position.
And as you go on, and I'm sure that wasn't here yesterday because we had the incident on Dorch Street, but it's not a foreign concept. Larry Strasser is a street department employee that does not report for street department duty. So that this is already something that does occur, and he's not even supervised by Charlie or the street department. He's actually supervised by Scott. So it's not a foreign concept to have somebody in the street department that's paid out of another fund and supervised by somebody totally different.
But I just want everybody to know that this is specifically, like, the main driving factor here is addressing the litter and just our police department is already stretched thin. Our street department is already stretched thin. We bring this person on, and when you really think about a daily schedule with these places on it, it almost becomes like, it is a full-time job, but it could go past that. And then on the off chance, especially in the winter when parks are used less, then Kevin would have an extra set.
It's okay.
Kevin would have an extra set of hands in the winter.
But Mayor, the time that the full-time guys spend shoveling in the parks and plowing the parks, it would be saved. It would be money saved. On Jennifer's comments, if you don't mind, real quick.
I just want to add before I forget that Ryan wants to have a conversation with Kevin, just to delineate the duties. But when we had our COVID issues, Kevin had already done a breakout, but they're going to extrapolate out from there and make sure that it can be sustained as a full-time position before doing it.
Quick question. Being we're gonna have these events, our garbage cans are atrocious that we have. Is there a possible, and I know,
The blue
looking at
barrels,
Betsy, I know there were some things on the, down the line possibly for the downtown area, but it's obvious this can't wait. Is there a possibility of allocating some funds, get new garbage cans downtown now?
recreation funds to get those,
get-
and even
yes.
if they're just used at Claude Kaler and for
Right.
events.
Could you get together with Kevin, maybe, Jen?
If you recall, we did replace a number of
We
trash
did, Bob, but
containers.
we need more.
But these would be the ones
These
that
are-
we haul out for events,
Right.
instead of the big blue oil
Yes.
drums,
Yes.
if
And
we
what
could
they
get
can-
cans for
And
the
he can use
events.
the old ones down on Independence Street, she said, to distribute them to, because they're in bad shape, there's no legs on some of them.
40-year.
Maybe you can get together with Kevin and just get an idea.
Yeah, I have to meet with Kevin about
Yeah,
benches
talk
and
to
stuff,
Kevin
but
about that. But he asked me to bring that up to you.
yeah,
about getting-
definitely those barrels need to be replaced.
So she's gonna get together with Kevin with that.
Sorry about that, there's that fire emergency.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
That was all.
Oh,
So the garbage cans, we can talk to Kevin, we can
Yes.
actually move forward with the garbage
yeah,
cans.
she has your.
Can we put that on the agenda for Monday to replace the trash cans for these events? Not the, it's the blue barrels need to go. With all the money and time that's being invested in these events, it's crazy.
You can set a
Oh.
price like we did.
Saber's suggesting wheels on them.
What she said?
Wheels.
Can you see?
People wheel them back to the
I was
house.
gonna say, can you imagine that?
That's why I was not being critical.
I'm sure Kevin would like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But that's a good idea, talk to Kevin and see, you know. Actually, he's the one that ordered them, so he'd know what you're gonna need. Sorry, I didn't mean that,
No, that's okay. So,
because they are bad.
wow, I can't breathe tonight. Until I interrupt somebody else, that's all I have.
On your Claude Kaler stuff,
Mhm.
I had the opportunity today, I kind of got stuck between Larry and Denny Electric.
Oh, yeah.
The lights over there that don't work. Are you familiar with what the
Yep.
problem is?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, they're trying to convert to LED and
Mhm.
LED bulbs do not fit in the fixtures,
Nope.
metal halides are.
Yep.
So Denny Electric was actually had people here today
Okay.
and went over it, looked at fixtures and are trying to solve your problem for you.
If
If Larry didn't tell you yet, Denny Electric comes to the high rise, so I
I know.
got him to Larry while he was here.
It's going to be all taken care of.
Yeah, it's gonna be corrected, Mary, that, I was gonna talk about that, but as long as you did.
The other Claude Kaler thing is, last year we didn't, as a group or a subgroup or whoever wanted to show up, give out candy at Claude Kaler Park for trick or treating because of COVID. We have done it in years past. Do you intend on doing it this year or are we still shying away?
I don't think that we asked for it, and since it's October 6th, we'd be violating our own policy. I'm not sure how anybody feels about that. I hadn't heard any interest prior to today, so
Candy from the routes. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, well, I bet have, I'll get that off my list also. Halloween parade, I think everybody's been here for Halloween.
Yeah, it's huge.
We lead the parade and we're gonna need candy to throw out after that for police.
Can't run out of Independence Street.
Yes. Yeah, we normally run short right about 9th Street.
It's not all Walmart that way. And don't throw them in the cruiser, right?
No, gets mad.
Yeah.
Try to get them some Tootsie Rolls.
yeah, what do you mean we lead the parade? Last
We go
year
right
would have been
behind-
my first one on council, so.
Right behind the cruisers.
The police cars are first,
And then
to
us.
set the pace of the parade.
Yeah.
We walk. And that way, what always happens is the police cars go too fast, the band can't keep up, you get
Yeah.
big gaps in the parade. So we generally,
This is costumes though, right?
I wear a jacket, you don't. You can wear whatever you like.
What?
You can wear whatever you like.
I've been in the parade every year in a costume. If I'm gonna be in the front, it's gonna be a good costume.
Same.
All right, she can try.
Bob asked, are you gonna dress as Satan?
Oh,
That's Councilwoman Satan to you, Mr. Slavy.
I'll bring down from Mount Carmel, that tornado that goes out all.
No, you won't. Are you trying to get me shot?
Bob, order enough candy, please.
Fuck you.
I don't know.
I'll be in charge of candy
Yeah,
acquisition.
order enough.
I'll get you the candy.
No, you won't.
You were a little tight last time.
I'm taking Mrs. Brown with me. We're in charge of candy
I don't
acquisition.
want it to end up like Dan. Dan would, if the parade started at 4, Dan would call me at 3 o'clock and say, Bob, go, we gotta go.
Bob,
Nope.
Candy.
We
Mrs.
turned
Brown
on
and
it.
I are
We
on it.
turned on Independence Street, the kids were waiting for us, and we had nothing to give them. That's the truth, right, John? Am I right?
Yes.
I guess I better pay the credit card. I'm gonna give you or Denise.
Yes, you better, because it's Christmas light time too.
Any,
Charles.
I don't have a real lot here. Just to update you a little bit, as you did on the lights, you already went into the lights. Want to let everybody know, the traffic paint, we did receive some yellow paint. They did the high profile areas, yeah, but don't say it already yet, it's going fast. White paint is not even available, not even available. I can't promise it's gonna get done this year, Mayor. I apologize, but there's nothing I can do. The other thing I want to let everybody know is starting towards the end of this month, and next month, the person who will be taking over this job is not gonna have the problem I have. The salt bins will be filled, any skid material will be loaded, all trucks are gonna be ready to go for the winter time. So they will not have the issue of asking for $10,000 to get salt. That'll all be taken care of, I can assure you of that. Other than that, Mayor, everything else, oh, one more quick item, Chief,
Yes.
if you would please, I would like to thank you. We had an incident where a alleged person threw stuff into the creek over on Willow Street, the creek that was just cleaned. And Chief Scheiko went over and the person was cited and it was in the newspaper. So thank you, Chief.
No problem.
Thank you very much. That's what we need, more enforcement. So thank you. I hope keep doing it. Sit
Absolutely.
out the message. That's it, Mayor. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Okay, this week's fire prevention week, obviously it kicked off on Monday. They had the parade and the display downtown. Just want to put the message out, to check your batteries and your smoke detectors. They don't work if your batteries don't work. Please check them. Can anybody here, well, let me back up a minute. Bob, can you tell me if the secretaries in the code office have access to informant? To input tickets and stuff? Because that's not Larry's job, and it shouldn't be getting pushed off on Larry now that we have 2 secretaries. Have you gotten access to it yet?
No.
Can we make that happen? Both secretaries need access to informant. All 3. And Dave should already have it.
I will talk about that tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Yeah, they need to have that.
Or maybe I could ask you a question when this is over and you can enlighten me on something
Because
since you're
to
involved.
be quite honest, it's not the secretary's job to be helping with citations and stuff. They are supposed to be taking care of sending them out and all that stuff and getting these tickets put into informant so we know when it's supposed to turn to a citation. And if it's input informant, correct me if I'm wrong, right? When their time is up and it is not paid, it goes automatically to citation. But they have to fill the citation out and send it.
In informant, what will happen is we'll have the ticket issued in there. At that point, after the time frame, it turns into a citation. The citation's filed, it's changing the informant. Showing citation was filed, then at this position down the road.
Right. And we need to start making that happen. Unless we're not issuing any tickets. That
I
I
would hope that's
don't know.
not the case.
I'm really hoping it's not either because I think by the end of next week, I'd like to know how many tickets were issued in the last 6 months. Code tickets. So if you could pass that on to the code office. Also, I think we need to have Dave attending council meetings. Because when people come and question things, I don't know what he did.
Okay. The regular meeting, Scott?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's the one that's gonna have to answer as to what he did, because I don't know.
If you recall, when you first came on council, we did.
Right.
We used to have Rick Baza attend.
Yes.
And we had, he sort of faded away, when this good gentleman here became mayor, we sort of
No,
did
he
things differently.
Rick was still coming to meetings pretty much almost till
No,
the
I'm
end.
saying about who was required to participate in these
Oh, yeah,
workshops.
yeah. Not in the workshop, no. No, I agree.
No, he can be present, there's no problem with that.
Do I even need to ask about the code book?
Sure.
Okay, where are we at with the code book?
There's been no movement.
Are we gonna have any movement?
I've spoken about this, with Doreen,
Are we just gonna,
no.
Has Vince-
it shouldn't.
has
It
agreed-
shouldn't just
Vince
be left
agreed
to die,
to-
John.
but has Vince agreed to just do it and give us a finished copy? Is Vince turning everything over to Frank?
I have not talked to him. I've had a brief conversation there. If I recall, Jen, you sent Revito, and if I'm wrong, tell me. Did you not send?
That was back in April, I
And he
believe.
made the comment,
He said
he's
he was
not the
talking to
solicitor.
us at the same time, and he said that Frank should be able to handle it.
There's only 67
He's
pages.
never reached out to me at all.
That's what I recall.
I've had no conversation with Vince Rubino.
If we could recover everything that Vince has put together and get it to Frank. And I don't remember exactly what it was. This is above and beyond the general solicitor's duties. So we were paying Vince in addition, do you remember what it was, $25 an hour or something like that?
No.
No.
$150 an hour.
It was getting big.
There is a fee that was set so that to compensate you for all of the extra work, and I would like to say if we're turning it over to Frank, that
Keep it at the same.
we do that
Oh, we did, I think it
at
was
the very
150.
least.
It was
So you-
150.
I believe
mean, we
it,
could-
Mayor, I believe it was 150 an hour.
Yeah, he was pretty high.
Yeah.
He was high.
I will talk to this, because there are a couple other things I need to discuss with him anyway, so.
Okay.
I'll
Are we
get
good?
hold of him.
Because we were at page
And-
one
and the
thirty-three.
reason-
There was only 67 to go.
I mean,
We ain't gonna start all over.
we've paid for this service, and I don't want it to be forgotten.
Right.
When we've already paid to have this done.
So it's halfway done. If Vince gives you the half that's done that we already sat through,
It's only
you only have to
67
do
pages.
half
bro.
of, again, it's on your extra time and there would be, I'm assuming we would have to make that motion to transfer that fee schedule over to Frank, right? Or no?
Yeah.
And they actually have everything already laid out as to what you possibly may want to look at to change. So you just
You just
pretty much
have to check a
look at
box.
that,
Yeah, it just pops.
check a box or
There's
write a
60
couple
pages
things.
of
It's not,
Yeah, I'll talk to Vince.
yeah,
Not a problem at all.
thank you. Okay. Charlie,
Yes.
after the last workshop,
Mhm.
you told me that UGI would be up there the following Tuesday, I believe, to
You mean
fix,
Aqua? Yes, I did.
or Aqua,
They did not show up.
in a month, and
I
it
know,
still hasn't happened.
I know,
We still got potholes.
I know that. I got Bob on it again twice in the last month, Scott.
Okay.
Just this past Monday, I think it was. and
Yes,
think he
I was here with
showed you
him when he
email
called.
Are they?
That I sent to the
responding or
guy
anything?
that's, was the top dog here at Aqua. And he wrote back to me, CC'd me on what he sent to Shingera. Like, come on, Bob Slavy's called me now, this is the second time.
Okay.
Council's on his rear end about fixing those two. And to the best of my knowledge, and I'll go look at that when this meeting's over,
They didn't do it.
Shingera did
Yeah,
not,
no, they,
No,
Shingera
they
did
didn't do
not
anything.
respond, Scott, to Steve's email,
Email,
like,
yeah.
do something.
okay.
Scott, we could do one of two things there, what we did the last time. It's up to council. And if we're not getting the cooperation, we usually do, we could do one of two things. I could authorize Kevin, to get a hold of, get him taken care of, and we bill Aqua for it.
I'm good if we just get some cold patching. For
I
now.
could have Kevin do that, but
There's, where that one is up by the mill,
I know.
with the brick
the
showing.
bricks are out, yeah.
On the
I
the
know.
opposite side from where the mill was, there are two that are dandies.
I know,
Yes.
And then
They are.
down where that
Outline.
one square one is in the middle of the 900 block.
yep, they cut it out,
That needs to come up,
Yeah.
like, it needs some added to that.
absolutely.
And where the sewer grate is right across from it, right below it, there's a hole opening up at the edge of the storm drain. So I mean, if we just throw some cold patch in it, it will
Bob,
help
It's up to you.
tremendously on.
you wanna
on
try it
those.
again tomorrow? my patience is wearing very thin.
Well,
I'm sorry.
again, I'm willing to show anybody the email that has come to
Bob,
me.
no
from
one's
Aqua.
disagreeing with you. I'm taking the grief for this.
No.
All I'm asking.
Charlie, I know it's not
I
our
understand.
responsibility. I get that.
Scott, I hit it every day too.
But-
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They have abandoned it.
Yes.
They made the cut. They also outlined it. The city of Shamokin had nothing to do with it.
In Aqua's defense, they agree wholeheartedly. They're not arguing with me, they agree with
Fix
me
it.
wholeheartedly.
I'd send them an email tomorrow and tell them the city of Shamokin wants it fixed. Just tell them you want it fixed. That's all I'm gonna tell you. I'm not gonna keep going through this.
You can't dodge it.
No.
Get it
Especially the fire
fixed.
department. You can't. Okay, which will lead me to the next thing. How much liquid fuels money do we have sitting in an account?
She's not here by chance, do you know?
I do not off the top of my head. I hate to quote a figure and be inaccurate. If I could log on, if I can get to a computer, I can tell you exactly how much is in there.
Amons, you're here. Can you check that for?
See
Get
how
on the
much is
computer
in
and I'll
Aqua's
get you numbers.
Okay. I'll win on that one. Chief, has the date been set for police testing yet?
The application process closes October 8th, which is Friday. I was told 3 days, 4 at the most to receive the test. I have to wait till October 8th, which is a Friday. I'll get all the information. On Monday, I'll notify them, and then we can set the date. Normally, I work with the police commission. They like it on Thursday. It's convenient for everyone who's doing everything. So I'm looking at, I don't think we're gonna make next Thursday's cut. Probably the following Thursday will be the written.
So it will happen this month. We'll start it.
Yes, oh yes.
We
My
probably won't finish till next month, correct?
No, we're gonna try and, when, depending on the amount of candidates, we're gonna try and have 1 week written, 1 week physical, and then shortly thereafter, oral interviews.
Okay.
And keep it all the space. The applications I have received so far, I have already started the background checks and took care of that process already. I'm through with the applications I have.
I just wanna make sure we're moving along.
Yes,
so you don't get-
absolutely.
You aren't continually being jammed.
I'm sorry, I thought you.
Oh, go ahead, Bob.
This is as of September 21st, the amount of money that the treasurer reports on October 1st, okay, is 194,000 and change.
That's the report that I just gave that to Bob. That's the report I'm going to read
Okay.
from Brenda.
Now,
She
why is there
emailed
so
me that.
much money? That probably is because we have received our funding.
And that's leading me to my next one. Since we have someone coming in to pave on First Street, can we have Kevin pick some other bad areas and use maybe, I don't know, 140, 150,000 of that to get some streets paved?
You certainly could.
Yes, you could.
That is,
And that is your,
that
that's council's
something-
prerogative if they want to
Can we use
fix some
Bunker
street.
Hill?
Is that something we, yes, that can be used on Bunker Hill.
Get
That's,
out!
that's what I'm
liquid fuel
getting at.
can, yes, it can.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yep,
But you want
liquid
to
fuel
have,
can be used.
you definitely want to have Kevin involved because I don't
Right.
know off the top of my head how much is needed for, fuel. I don't know how much is needed for the light bill, for the,
That's for winter
streets,
maintenance too,
the
Scott.
traffic
Right.
signals. I don't know off the top of my
Yeah,
head,
can't
Scott.
spend it all. I
Yeah.
can understand that.
I'll be honest with
But
you.
we may be able to
And
get a
Charlie,
couple
I don't even
streets.
care if we don't pave a whole block.
No.
If we can get bad sections fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of a Band-Aid.
Yep.
But
Right now, we don't even have a Band-Aid.
No,
we don't, yeah,
I
it's gonna prevent it from growing bigger, is what I'm getting.
actually, a good thing would be the 3 streets up there around the Square Project. They're all bad, every one of them.
Kevin McCann.
Yep.
By Mr. Pizza.
Okay.
He had, actually, Scott, he did have an estimate for that, but the shorter money ran out. If you remember,
Yeah.
we were able to pave them all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
we're
we
not-
got
I had a
it. That's a good point.
That computer's chugging away.
Okay,
Yes, that's having, but she doesn't need to, we
Yeah.
just use Barbara's report.
Good enough.
where are we at with hiring one full and 2 part-time street department employees?
We didn't have the interviews yet, because Bob was sick.
We were supposed to have the interviews last week, we didn't call them up, I was out here all last week. They are scheduled
For next
for
week, next Tuesday.
next Tuesday,
Do you want a camera?
Oh, look.
yeah, next
Think
Tuesday.
about that, seriously. That's for the grant.
Oh, yeah.
And there are three, Scott, for that day that Kevin had looked over that are gonna be coming in for those interviews.
Last but not least, I'd like to put on the agenda to, put out an RFP to fix the Liberty Street steps and pay for it with recreation money.
All the steps, no community input?
I'm not saying, what do you mean, all of the steps?
Like the steps, we would pay all the money, the community, there's no other group contributing to it, we would just pay for the entire project?
Which ones are Liberty Street steps?
The ones where the houses are.
Yeah.
Billy
Straight, yeah.
Plats,
I know.
Yeah, so we know.
there are actual taxable.
And I'm not-
Need those steps.
I'm not saying a deal like the 99 steps where we redid every step.
No.
I'm talking fixing the bad spots
So they can get up and down.
so that these people that live there aren't breaking their neck. That's the part I'm looking at.
Scott,
There's another bad area, and I'm gonna bring it up because I know if I don't, the mayor's gone, that we better really start looking at. That's the Patsy's Bridge.
Yep.
If no one's gone over and looked underneath it,
it's bad.
they better go over and look
The
underneath it.
rebar's starting to stick out of that concrete.
Yep, you're 100% right.
And that's, that,
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
ours.
we're gonna pump over there all the time.
That's a footbridge.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely
And,
gone.
and that's another one that can be patched,
And fixed.
like they do it all the time.
Are you gonna ask for an RFPQ on that? What do you got? Would it be an RFP or an RFQ?
All right.
And if I can just, that is ours, so we can't, it's not a county bridge, right? That is.
Right, that's hard, that's.
I don't think it's the bridge itself, it's the abutments.
It's the abut,
It depends.
Yeah, the abutment's the
That's
issue,
what
and I can tell you because I
Hughes
do bridges.
proposal,
Yep.
Hughes quote. But
Which do we want
I'm
for a
not
payment
sure
for?
what, if you're using city funds,
Depends, do you just wanna get a price? Do you wanna hire an engineer to just quote it out with
What's
the
the
price, or you want
That we
him
need
to design the project?
to fix it, just to get it.
Anything over
Then it'd be a fee, if you want him to
I
design
think these
it,
prices are both gonna be under $11,000.
You-
That's what I was
Yeah.
waiting for them to stop talking. If it is, you know, what we can do is we can get somebody, I only want to use this as an example. You can get somebody like Persing, you can get ABC Company, EFG, whatever, and just ask them how much will it cost
I
to
was gonna
fix
say,
these.
all you need is
I
a
can tell you, look, knowing what I've seen, and I haven't been down recently, but on the Patsy's Bridge,
It's bad.
on them abutments,
They're all,
you're gonna, if you can get in there with chipping guns,
you can do it.
chip all the bad stuff away, get down to the good part of the concrete. You may have to drill and put a cage in there of rebar, form it up, and then get your concrete into it. And or another material that is, yeah,
How much does a project like that, Scott, you think?
I think just to fix those abutments, if that is as far as it goes, I don't think it's gonna be outrageous.
The target number is under 11,000 is what he's trying to get at.
I mean,
It has to be.
at this point, I would have, if we can get people, a contractor or two to look at it and give us a price to fix that, I would say go that road right for now on that. Even on the steps, like I said, let's get the prices.
Yeah, there's three phases, okay? Anything under 11.5, you can do whatever you want to.
Right.
Anything between 11 and
Whatever.
18, 19, you need to have 3 quotes, written quotes or telephonic. And anything above that, you need a full-fledged.
Right, put it out to bid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But you're talking, he's also talking possibly, you
Just to get
know,
it repaired.
maybe a good repair job
Yes.
to the steps up there. And
I mean, and realistically, I see in other municipalities and dealing with it, in Lidditz, right? They will actually go around themselves and they will mark what they want repaired. And then the contractor comes and he gives them the price on it. So I mean,
yeah, we can.
if that's something we wanna do,
I mean, I've used contractors and.
but it would be good to get a couple sets of eyes. I mean, if Kevin, if I can get a time to meet up with Kevin, I'll go with him,
That'd be
you
fine.
know.
He'd
And
appreciate it.
Take some spray
with
paint.
concrete, you can sound concrete.
Mhm.
And you'll find every bad spot with a hammer or a chain.
I think basically, Mayor, what he's also saying, with the steps he's also talking about, the street department goes up there, Jen, maybe you're not aware. For the last 8 years that I've been here, we go up, Kevin has to get special concrete, send 3 guys up, tying material, and all we're doing is like patching it over. He's right. It's costing the city money just like that.
If you could make them a lot better for under $11,000.
Correct.
Contract it out this year.
And you gotta remember, Patsy's Bridge has been through a lot over the last 10 years.
Is that
And
the
we really-
actual name of that bridge?
Yeah, Patsy's Bridge, yes.
That's the only
Yep.
name I've ever known,
Yep.
but I didn't know if it had like
Patsy's
a
Bridge,
secret
Patsy
name.
Steps. That's what they've been
Does
calling
anybody know who Patsy was?
She lives on,
I-
she lives on
That I
the
don't
bottom
know.
steps.
it.
Some Irishman.
I would, yeah.
Used to be a playground there and everything.
There was a playground, yes.
Yes, there was.
Yes, there was. Swing, slide board, everything there.
That's pretty bad.
Side there, wasn't it?
Unless you want to cross the bridge heading up there, it was on.
But that, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's all
But that-
I asked, yeah.
That'd be something with the look at, see.
I'll go through mine quick. I'm coming to an end here, so I won't have new projects for you. I'm just trying to get some of the things done. I'll be as quick as possible. The property that we had over the Cartway by Cole, do we have any progress on that? We got it, we paid to have it surveyed and everything else.
I
Let's do
had,
that.
I had a surveyor, licensed surveyor, go look at it, go do what he had to do. I spoke with Frank, I provided Frank with the information. Frank had spoken with the client's attorney,
The look, right?
Mr.
Bob
Bob.
again, because I told Bob he can do all the legal work and all the papers, so we'll just look at
So
it.
to the best of my knowledge, based on what you have told me, it's Mr. Balloon.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him lately.
Okay, has Andy called anybody? Okay, last time I talked to Andy, he said, I don't mind paying for it, but I thought your price was a little high, can we negotiate?
No.
Yeah, I said, you gotta call City Hall, buddy, that's not me, but, so we have no progress on it whatsoever.
That's up to Mr. Balloon.
Well, we put the price on that.
No, yeah, that's all fine, that's all worked out. Mr. Balloon is supposed to be preparing the paperwork.
Great, fantastic. This is a question for anybody in general. Oliver's Cigar Shop downtown is going to be opening as a BYOB. Are you familiar with any? Do we have to do any kind of paperwork whatsoever city-wise to allow a BYOB to open in Shamokin? This is a request from Edgar, actually got hold of me and said, listen, before I just do it, I want to make sure you don't have an ordinance or any type of permit for that type of stuff.
Wouldn't that almost be like me bringing a beer to your house?
Yeah, speaking.
He just asked. The only concern that I would have, he has some outdoor seating that's there. If it's a BYOB, it cannot be outside, right?
That would be one
Unless-
restriction.
That'd be a violation.
Unless you lifted the open container for that particular residence.
Right, right, because it's not covered on a liquor license like the other places are to serve outdoors.
Yes.
Right.
Wait a second, so you could suspend the open container ordinance just for a property?
Forever.
Why not?
But
You live
I'm
in
just-
certain streets.
I'm just confirming what I'm hearing. Buy property indefinitely,
I would not.
Yeah, I would.
but it
Council could vote it.
theoretically, council can vote for that to be a thing.
So I just wanted to make sure with the collective everybody here,
think they
that
could.
there's nothing that anybody's familiar with that he has to do to it.
There's been other places, hasn't there? In Shamokin, on your own life. Yeah.
Yeah, we would be, well, like the Chinese restaurant used to have a thing on their windows so you could bring your own alcohol.
So we just had a BYOB place open, did they go through any process? Right down on Independence Street, big old sign.
But like Edward's asking because he wants to do it the right way. That's all.
But let's see that place is shaking its head. You have,
No, I agree with the mayor, and that would be the only problem, if they're drinking outside.
If they keep it on the inside the premises.
But other
we
than
can't
that,
do
as
nothing.
long as you're over 21, you can transport and move alcohol freely, as long as it's in a closed container.
That's good.
Okay, we can have a lead parade. Judicial sale, just happened, 29 properties sold in the city of Shamokin. Does the code's office have any kind of a plan for sending out letters giving notice that, hey, you bought it, it's yours, you have so long to, or do we have a plan moving forward? Because there was a pile of bought again.
I will get you an answer for when you come here at lunchtime tomorrow.
There should be, because that's what we normally do.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, Also, Bob, while he's on that,
Yes, sir.
that those two properties, the one on BVA.
Yeah.
620, is it
Right next to Mr. Post.
Yes. The one on BVA and
What's
the
that
one,
address, Scott, so I can write it.
I think he's 625.
I think it's 621.
Oh, okay, 23.
And then there's another up on 7th Street, and I believe I had, the best person to call to get the actual address, because I don't know it off the top of my head, will be Prim. Because he's been dealing with them. But they were the two that we were gonna do eminent domain. And when I was on the phone with Ed Christiani, he said to me, do you have any other properties in mind? I said, you get money, I will spend it for you. I said, the two that we were going after eminent domain have showed up on the tax sale now. We asked them to hold them so that we could snatch them. We haven't put them in our name yet, for good reason. But once we know we have funding secure to demo them from them, then I say, we say to the county, give us them now.
Yeah.
And then they can go in and get them down first. Because those two are
Is that
That guy's been
621
playing
and
for years.
625, Scott?
not 625.
623?
625 is where
Mr.
Mr.
Post
Post
is.
is the one right next to his, because it leaks into his house.
He's been coming to
621.
meetings.
Call Brian and check with him, but it's definitely 7th Street and BVA, and just tell him it was the eminent domain properties, and he'll know right away what they are.
Brian will.
That man's put up quite a bit.
If not, he will get you right away.
He's come to.
Well, I think it's switched hands
We just keep
Other
blowing
question,
off.
was that you?
1,000 times in the last 5 years.
Yep.
By the code office.
He actually quit coming to
Just
council
for the-
maybe, because we
No
know
one
Kathy
that
owns
lives
exactly what I'm-
Yep.
anywhere near the city.
And he really isn't.
The 9/11 memorial is still floating around out there. We need to make sure that it moves from where it's at now to the church for the weekend.
It is at the Ale House right now.
Whose
How's that happen?
responsibility, because I have a question about that. Is it when it moves from place to place?
Because it
wait a
was
minute, I know
easier
our
because they wanted
church
it
would like to
than
have
me
it.
trying
At
to
some
get it in
point,
here.
they're not in any rush. So would it be members of our
Why
church that would have to?
I asked John.
Oh,
years ago,
when
he
you
said
go
it
in,
was
you
last
want
summer.
When I moved, it was Scott and I went and got it, because nobody could get it anybody. It's heavy.
Yes,
It
I
is
know
very
that.
They're getting it into your church.
You're gonna be around tomorrow evening?
Because it's
all on.
No,
No,
they'll be able to start doing
I
that.
will help
Take
out,
us
but if you
literally-
have somebody that can do it, that would be great.
20 minutes.
But
It's at the Ale
There's
House.
a-
We can take it right over there. We'll go down tomorrow. We go down tomorrow. You get me?
It's okay.
Hey, she's
Scott and Eric are going to pick it up
They're
from
gonna
the
go
Ale House
tomorrow
and take
So
it
as
to
long as
Mother
they're gonna do
Green.
it, that's all right.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
it's gonna end up at Mother Cabrini?
Yes.
Yes.
And where does it go after that? Do we know?
I thought it was supposed to go to the event and then go to the library.
No.
And then go to the event, go to the library. The library was the public centrally located
I'm good with
place.
that.
I would
And so
like
we
it to
can
be
take-
permanently placed at the library
Yes.
once it stops moving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it's a nonprofit and
It's a
it's
safe place.
Open to the
accessible
public.
to everybody.
Yeah, I look at it a little bit different.
Well, that's my opinion, I think that
The Ale
no
House.
business should benefit from it.
I'm figuring you guys will too decide that long after I'm gone from here.
Actually, I would like to see it enclosed and placed outdoors in a
Yeah.
Me
park.
too, that's the other,
That would be-
I would-
Lincoln Street would.
That would be
nice.
nice.
No, I would like, my opinion, down by the flagpole,
By the fireman's
by
monument.
Fireman's Memorial,
Well,
in,
know,
on a
That would
pedestal,
be a
some
good
kind of
spot.
case that, obviously you can see through, that's
Right.
secure, with some sort of light in front of it coming up out of the.
Yeah, I would have no objection.
And I believe Craig was talking with Mr., is it Yang, Yang? Yao.
Their engineer?
The engineer from Housing.
Yeah, I have his business card. Yeah.
Yes, he was talking with
That would be
him
the ideal spot.
and had him look at it to see if he can design some kind of case.
Yes, he was
That would be
here,
good.
he was here to look at it when he first arrived here.
Yeah.
And put a light on it.
Yeah.
Craig was.
So he was talking to him about it. Obviously, that was just last week, so.
In fact, it was the day you guys were all here, when Muser was here.
Wednesday.
Craig stuck around
We all had to leave.
and he waited for the medicines engineer.
Not all of us.
I think
That actually, Bob, that actually would be a
I'll
very
let
good
him sit on
start.
that, he's the one that.
Yes, sir.
No, I mean, it's the same thing.
I have no opinion that'll happen after I'm
Because, you know, you keep moving it around, somebody's gonna damage it.
That'll be somebody's
Somebody's
problem
gonna hurt in
for the next
permanent
spring.
home.
Bob, unless you have a plasma cutter, I don't think you're gonna damage that. And it better be a big plasma cutter.
But it's
So
so important that you don't wanna.
The normal person's not gonna be able to.
I don't, I'm more concerned with it walking off.
To try and be somewhat official, Sarah, there is an actual form that somebody can request to have this with, and
There you go.
Yes, and it's on the website,
it's on the website.
and it should be submitted to me, and I am keeping,
Is on the website.
yes, and it-
Okay.
they're to come to the code office email, and I'm taking care of it, I'm putting them on a calendar when I get an official request.
And they're responsible to make sure it gets properly, okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Make
I don't think our
sure you
church
have the
cares.
Marinite down for Mount Carmel.
Whenever you want.
Well,
When I have an official request.
Whatever Friday that is.
Turn your form
I
in.
just gave him the official.
You got a front form in, I put mine in.
If we could.
Providing it's
If it's true.
Okay, I don't wanna get too far.
Okay.
Okay, the next thing that's gonna take some discussion with us. Vinnie Clausy bought a property at Second and Walnut Street, the corner property up there. There were variances that were needed. He paid his money, he had a variance hearing and everything else, and variances were granted. He has now contacted both Bob and I last week while Bob was dying at home. And before he started, and this is something that, and we've talked about it for 4 years that I'm sitting here. When somebody has a variance hearing, they don't get any kind of official paperwork from anybody to say that a variance has been granted for the property that they can keep with their deed, that when things get transferred and everything, they don't.
You should.
Sometimes you don't even get your hearing when you pay your check.
God bless him that Bill Allen tried to type something up on his own, that his attorney will not accept it. Something needs, this was back in August, the man's waiting to start a project for building. We have got to resolve it or get sued, and then we're gonna do it that way anyway. So something's gotta give here with people that have variances actually get documentation.
To add to that,
Hold on,
speaking with Steve Jeffrey last night, he, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, stated that their solicitor said that she had the right of a paper that all 5 of them had to sign for this.
That's what Steve told us.
I'm assuming, granting the variance.
Correct.
That he wants it, they've asked for it, and it's my understanding she now refuses to produce it.
But we,
Is that where we're really at with it?
my understanding that he's not being provided with anything, well, other than what Bill Allen
But
talked
he
about,
is
the goodness of
supposed
his
to.
heart, that Vinnie won't accept because his attorney is livid over it, that there's no
I,
parcel numbers of that, they need,
So do we
So
have,
they need something official.
yes.
so do we have Bob contact Ann Targonski and say, hey, we need this, we need it to come from you, we need it drawn up. And if she doesn't, then
What do we do?
we
There
move
was,
along.
but was there was a transcript of the variance hearing, right? They have to have a stenographer.
I
no,
wasn't here
you
for it.
don't need to have a stenographer, that's an option that the person who was petitioning the zoning board.
Was the solicitor present? The
The
zoning
solicitor
board.
was present because I was sitting here in the building with Mr. Clausy in the lobby. And I knew all about this, and he was content when the meeting was over that he was getting something the next day in writing.
And he didn't get it.
Only for me to find out last week that this all transpired, I believe, if I look at my notes, back on August 28th, and the man is still waiting. And when I hear he and others have contacted or have tried to get the solicitor on the phone, and look I'll tell her to her face if she was sitting here right now. Why the hell don't you return somebody's call, including Mr. Allen, including Mr. Clausy? I mean, I would be upset with you, and you would deserve for me to be upset with you if a citizen was calling you and asking you to answer on behalf of the city of Shamokin and you didn't. You know, if you don't want to do the job, get the hell out. And if she's not returning somebody's call, I mean, Mayor, I'll call her,
She gets paid for this.
okay? It may not end, it may not end very well.
I'm sure it will, and she's always been good to me. Hopefully, it's just an oversight.
I don't know why the man can't.
He gave me a letter. He gave me a letter signed by the board and the
So,
date.
like I said, he's
And the
talked to Bob and I, and this is holding up the construction project.
Can we tomorrow morning, first thing, make phone calls to her and shoot emails? And if we get no response by Monday, take action,
Yes,
such as finding a replacement?
that's the city's prerogative.
Well, if the hearing was done and approved.
Now, keep in mind, we don't have an overabundance of attorneys here in the city of Shamokin or in our area.
I think this will just resolve itself, hopefully.
I was just gonna say, yeah, why don't,
But if she hasn't been returned, I don't get that.
yeah, why would she?
I don't get it.
But again, we're getting ourselves into a
I would
spot
call
that
that.
we need to do something.
Yes, I agree.
All he needs that done.
That's
Should
what
be hard to
call
do.
it.
I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe for some reason she's not getting the messages. Do we talk to Mr. Garrigan and ask him, could he have her contact us, or?
I think it can be rectified. I don't think, it shouldn't have took this long.
No.
No.
But I feel that we can get that.
Mhm.
I mean, it should be correct. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
More thing.
I will say I don't know, because I had absolutely nothing to do with this issue, but if he was supposed to get a letter, he should get a letter.
And Jen, they usually do. I don't
And,
when
and,
I
and
didn't even know
I
he
just
did
wanna
that.
point one more thing out, that he's about to put a property, a building up,
Taxable
that goes onto our tax rolls.
Yeah. So we're in a
So
delay.
why are we doing this?
I don't know.
The only other thing I have, and it's not so much for council, but for the general public. As you can see tonight, our meetings are open to the public, once again. If it was up to me, I would have still kept it closed because of the COVID restrictions. You see, we're not wearing masks because there's no mask mandate. Also, when there's a mask mandate, I'll wear a mask at the meetings like everybody, I'll be a good boy. However, our meetings are now open to the public. We're going back down to Mill Road Square for the meetings as we have them advertised. There will be a limit to seating again, like there were during the COVID restrictions. They're 6 feet apart. That gives us about 12 seats for the public, and that is it. So the reason for opening the meetings again, we had a hearing before this meeting that had to be open to the public, and so be it. Now we're here at an open meeting. We have the ARPA thing right before the meeting next time, so be it. You can't have a meeting before it and then close our meeting because of COVID. The meetings will be open. You won't see me wear a mask unless there's a mask mandate put on. If you're not comfortable with that, but with people not having masks on, we're still gonna stream online or not stream online. With it being open to the public, there won't be any online questions taken, but it'll be up to the council whether they want to live stream the meeting so people can watch that can't make it in or can't make it to it. We do reach a lot of people this way.
Well, especially since we're restricting it to 12 people.
No problem.
Okay. So that was my public service announcement for the public. One last time for everybody in the room, new sunshine law stuff, the agenda has to be posted online at least 24 hours in advance.
Right.
Bob has to have that done Friday afternoon and have it online for it to be ready for the meeting on Monday. If you don't have what you need on the agenda when it's posted, it cannot be brought up at the meeting for a vote. So if you think
Unless it's an emergency.
yes. So if you think of something that we forgot about tonight, make sure you get it on the agenda prior to Friday afternoon when you post it online.
You can't bring new business up?
I was just gonna say, can we make changes?
You can't vote.
No.
You can't make no changes
You
once
can-
that's posted
Once
online.
that agenda is posted,
Posted online, that's it.
It's locked.
Okay.
The only changes you can make, okay, alter it, is if there's an emergency,
Okay.
okay?
What about new business?
But
We get
New
the
business,
work
we can bring it up and talk about it, but you cannot vote unless it's on that agenda when you post it.
so
So we've
basic.
already taken these motions and we've had the wording wrong and we.
Yeah,
Frank, that'll be your interpretation.
Let's see what's on the agenda.
Okay.
That's what comes up at the
Let's
meeting
not
on
screw
Monday.
it.
So, just the thought, if you think of something between now and Friday, you can still put it on there and it can still be brought up, but.
There's only 30 on there now, and nobody has anything else?
Little blend ready.
There's only 30.
All right.
There's only 30.
With that in mind, does anybody have anything else that they need to discuss before we adjourn?
are the questions only about what's on the agenda also, that we're still sticking to that format, pretty much.
I think there has to be an open period for somebody to address us.
All right, yeah, okay.
3 minutes.
Okay.
Back to the same old rules, 3 minutes. Frank will
wanted to be
keep the
sure.
clock.
Frank's, okay. Just want to be sure.
Tell us if anybody's out of line.
Yes, I'm gonna do a little research on the Sunshine Lot and make sure that we're in compliance.
Okay. It just changed within the last,
Yeah, this is the second meeting. Yeah, we're doing it the right way. And you are welcome. One of your colleagues that I also serve with, feels the same as some of us do. It was signed into law by the governor. The only thing, you can get yourself out is if it's an executive, personnel, litigation, you can go in and you can do that type of
does
stuff.
anybody need executive tonight?
I don't need it. Need that.
Motion to adjourn it
So moved.
at 8 o'clock.
Are you keeping this?
No, I'm not.